This time on Ozark Garage, we are testing our EFI conversion at Autocross. If you've been following along, you know we've been converting our Toyota 22RE and the Lotus 7 Replica to fuel injection, and now we're going to test it out at Autocross. So this is officially part 4. If you haven't seen the previous episodes, check them out on my channel. If you aren't familiar with Autocross, the best way to describe it is a parking lot race. So take a giant parking lot, in this case about 30 acres, set up a course of cones, and you race cars among the cones in a course. The great thing about Autocross is it's very, very easy to get started. All you need is a helmet. You don't need a fire suit, cage, harnesses, or anything crazy like that safety-wise. Your car does have to pass a safety inspection, but otherwise, if you have a helmet, and they do have loaner helmets, you can race. There's a bunch of classes for a bunch of different cars no matter what you drive. I'm going to temper some expectations here and say I'm not very good, and my car's not very competitive in E-Mod where it has to compete because it is a tube-framed replica. In addition, I don't compete often enough to be good at it, so there is that. I've done a few novice schools, and I run about one event every couple years, but I still enjoy it, so we're going to have some fun. Autocross is a big part of the reason I put fuel injection on this car in the first place. If you watch this flashback, you'll see that the carburetor just can't handle high G loads. So, jumping right into my first run, started off a little slow because I spun on the start, and then I've forgotten the course, really, because it's been several hours since I did the walkthrough. I had a break at first, and then I had to work the course, and I'm in the third heat of the day. So here I'm going, I don't know, maybe 80% speed or so, just to figure out the course again and not get lost and not have a DNF. So I have a time to start from. Overall on this first run, I laid down a time of 65.985 seconds, but I also hit 2 cones, bringing my total to 67.985. So on my second run, you could hear there at the start, I spun and then short shifted and then bogged it, so I lost time on the start. But this is my first really, I would say, clean run going through the course, and here I laid down a 63.387, so I shaved 2 seconds off my previous time, not including any cones. Overall is about a 4-second improvement if you factor in the cones. Third run was definitely my best launch so far, and this is where I start to really try to push it, and you'll see the rear end get a little loose and save it. Try not to spin the car, but definitely push it harder in the corners and go faster and faster. Overall, I finished this run with a 64.526 clean, no cones hit. So a little slower than the previous run, but still not too bad.
That was intense. I don't even know if you hit a cone or not.
I don't think so. I think the alternator's squeaking now.
Yeah, something happened on that run.
Yeah. Be alright.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
So taking out that last cone there and going outside the course means I got a DNF on my 4th of 6 runs, which means did not finish. In addition, as you can see, the car started overheating really badly toward the end of that run. I'm really glad it didn't puke coolant everywhere, but I don't know how it didn't. At that hot, I think it should have been puking coolant out of the radiator and all over the track, which would have shut it down for everybody. So once again, I'm really glad it didn't. So I popped the hood to investigate, and sure enough, the alternator had thrown its belt, which means the water pump wasn't spinning and the car was overheating. The belt was pretty chewed up, but we were able to put it back on and get the car started so we could load it on the trailer, and figured that was a prudent course of action. Just go ahead and skip the last couple runs instead of causing issues for everyone else. Back at the shop, I was able to pull the alternator and see that yes, indeed, this screw had started to back out and lock up the alternator. So I figured I'd pull it apart, see if I could fix it. After taking off the fan, get a better shot of what happened. Looks like the screw backed out enough that it worked its way into the hole on the rotor, obviously locking it up and throwing the belt. So that's unfortunate, but we'll see if we can fix it. I've taken apart these GM 10SI and 12SI alternators before. They're pretty simple. There's 4 screws to hold the case together, and then you can pop the front case loose. And all I want to do is take apart the front case because I don't want to mess with the brushes or any of the rectifier or anything in the back. So I'm going to separate the front case from the rotor and its bearing, which will allow me access to the screw that came out. And here you can see the screw that came out, and this screw holds the bearing retainer into the front case. It came out by hand, wasn't even tight at all, but I figured I'd chase out the threads. They turned out to be 1024, and I had some replacement screws in the hardware bin, some stainless steel 1024 screws. So this time they're going to go back in with some Loctite to avoid this issue in the future. Then it's just a matter of putting the alternator back together. So put the front case half on, put the screws in, tighten the screws, put the fan and pulley on the front, tighten the pulley nut, and then give it a quick spin for a test. Make sure it spins smoothly. Got a new belt from the parts store, and then we can reinstall the alternator and hook its wires back up. This is the Hall effect sensor and bracket I installed in the last episode. It's in the way of actually removing the belt now, so I had to loosen it and retighten it to get the belt on and off. Well, the alternator's back together, back in the car, and it seems to be charging. Doesn't seem to make any noise, so we're going to run it and see how it goes. It sucks that I missed out on my last couple runs, and all that was caused by a 2-cent part or less coming loose. It's really annoying because I really kind of sought out a better quality alternator than the standard GM 10SI that I've dealt with in the past. So, only thing left to do now is throw the hood back on and drive it some, see how it goes. So am I happy with the fuel injection? Well, thus far, yes. The car never stalled or sputtered on me. It's got consistent power in and out of corners and braking. But once again, I think I'm going to have to get better at autocross to really figure that out. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.